You want to be a startup entrepreneur? Are you out of your mind? Something feels a little bit weird today. Today we're going to unlock a lot of the hidden obstacles that almost nobody talks about on this platform, but we're going to spill the beans on the startup industry and tell you how you can be a successful startup entrepreneur in 2024 as well as in the 21st century. It's really unbelievable how many misconceptions there are about startups. People believe it's as easy as a walk in the park. Those of us who have ran successful businesses know that this is everything but true. It takes so much more than taking action to succeed in the startup industry. I wanted to start this video talking about one of the hidden obstacles that literally nobody's talking about in our industry. And this little obstacle is called budget, okay? It's called capital. You can have a successful business, you can have a great idea. However, eventually you're gonna run into problems such as funding problems, especially when you're at the point where you're thinking about scaling the business. When you're scaling the business, your margins will decline. It's just how it is. Let's say you want to get a loan from a bank. Assuming that you got some collateral, the bank may decide to give you a loan or not. However, what might also happen is that the bank might want to look at your earnings, at your profits every quarter to make sure that your business is profitable so that you are able to pay back the money that the bank loaned you. Of course, loaning money from a bank is just one way that you can use to get capital. What other options do you have? Well, savings. Let's say you have ran a business before, you managed to save up, you preserved capital, you have assets that you can liquidate to use these assets, these liquidations to start a new business. This is all common in the startup industry. It takes money, it takes capital to be successful in the world of business. There are people that say, well, you can always find a venture capitalist. Sure, you can. However, who wants to invest in a business that's not generating a lot of profit? Oftentimes, a venture capitalist is not interested in investing in a business unless your business generates at least $500,000 a year. Nobody wants to invest in an unproven idea. It's just how it is. Why? Venture capitalists are looking at dozens and dozens of deals and sometimes even hundreds and hundreds of deals. And you know what they do? They pick one and one only. Sure, some of them might be interested in investing in multiple companies, but very typically, venture capitalists are very picky. Of course, if you have a sound business plan, if you have a sound strategy for scaling your business, your chances of getting a venture capitalist aboard to join your company are obviously much greater than if you are unprepared. However, it always comes down to profits. Profits are everything. Profits decide whether you stay in business or go out of business. And oftentimes, and mostly, profits decide whether you're able to take on a venture capitalist or not. If you've been in business for a long time, you know that I'm not telling you anything new here. What's great about the online business world is that you can start and own a business with high profit margins. Since you don't have to manufacture and ship a physical, tangible product, it's often very likely that you can reach a profit margin of, say, 60 to 70%. As you scale the business, what happens very typically is that your profit margins decline. This is very common. Why does this happen? Well, expenses kick in. You have more overhead. You have tools. You might have an office and all other types of expenses that take money away from your profit. They decrease your profit margins. But what they do, and this is something great, they help you to scale your business to higher revenues. Another super important statistic that so many people are just sweeping under the table is the success versus failure rate. This depends from country to country. The statistics may vary. It also depends on the business category. Like there are businesses that have a much greater chance of success. Why? They started the business during a certain time in a certain country where the economy was growing in that sector. If that's the case, guess what? Your chances of having success in that specific category are just that much greater than if you were to go into something that's unproven or where you just don't know if there is a market for it or not. Of course, what you can do, which I always advise people to do, is before you create the product, let's say you're in the world of online marketing, you're in the world of digital products, services, whatever. What you want to do is you want to create the sales page, the sales funnel, and start testing the product. Once you have just a funnel set up, once you have the product idea publicized, what you can do is you can test to see if there's demand. Guess what? If there is demand and if sales start coming in, you can start creating the product. But you have to be very quick with creating the product because you don't want to disappoint your first customers. You want to have the product ready as quickly as possible. The good news is that with many online services, this is very feasible. Another very important truth of building an online business is that there's always a little bit of luck involved. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say you started a very profitable business idea during the past health crisis where you thought, hey, this will take off, this will make a lot of money. But then the following thing happened. People were maybe not able to go out to spend money, or people were just not looking to buy the specific service. And guess what happened? Like 2 years passed, and in some countries, well over 2 years passed before people started buying the product again. Now, if you got started with this product idea, service idea, whatever, at the beginning of the past health crisis, and you were trying to sell it, you were trying to make money with it, but it didn't happen, maybe because people were struggling, they didn't have money, they were at home, they got laid off, whatever might have happened to the market, to the people, there's so many factors that determine your profitability in a business. It just didn't happen, it didn't work out. And so you had this idea that would have been profitable during any other time other than a health crisis, yet you couldn't make it work because you started a business at the wrong time. You had the right idea at the wrong time, and because of that you didn't make money. There are many people who this really happened to. And this isn't just about a health crisis. This could be during a stock market crash. This could be during any other crisis that would really affect the market and people's spending power. I wanted to give you another example here, which is actually something that happened to a personal friend of mine. They started a business in a country where they thought it might work. But before they started the business in the country where it actually did end up working very well, they went into other countries where they implemented the same idea, but they were not able to scale the business to higher revenues. Why did this happen? Well, the market in that other country wasn't big enough, and there was too much competition. There were already too many established businesses in the very same category. So guess what happened? He ended up going to a different country. He researched it well. He analyzed the market. He saw that this market is growing in the country where it actually ended up working out for him. And that country that ended up working out for him, he made hundreds and hundreds of times more in revenue and profits than in the country where they initially started it, the business. Why did it work so well for him? Well, guess why? It happened very well for him because there was literally no competition online for the service at the time, and they just had the right skill set. So it was him and a couple other partners that started the business. And because of this combined skill set, or these combined skill sets, they were able to start the business and scale the business to higher revenues, something that was not previously possible for a number of reasons that we just pointed out. So to answer the question, is there a little bit of luck involved in the business? Yes, there is. But the good news that I have for you in this video is that the more you keep trying, the sooner you will come across something that will work for you. The only thing that you cannot do is to stop trying. When you just keep trying, okay, if you have a profitable business idea and you know that this is a proven idea that generates money, what you want to do is you want to check very carefully, very diligently, have a look at different markets, have a look at different advertisement methods, and see where the profits could be. And like I said, it depends on the combined skill sets. You yourself can only add so much to the table. You yourself can only do so much work. While you might be a very intelligent person, you only have so much time. Your time is limited. Your time is not limitless. Your time is limited, and you want to do whatever you can to specialize in maybe one or two skills that will help you skyrocket your business. So how do you get ahead? Well, you find partners, you find people to work with that have different skill sets than you, that are lucrative for the business, that are required, that are mandatory for the business to scale to higher revenues. And guess what? If you don't want to work with partners, or if you cannot find partners, or if you feel like you have to give up too much of a share, too much equity to take a partner aboard, you can always outsource. You can always train people. You can hire people. You can work with recruitment agencies. It's just an example. Or you can find people that you've worked with in the past who might be able to refer you a person here or there. Like network, look deep and really work on this. In all seriousness, startup entrepreneurs, they're insane. Why? They got no life. If you're a startup entrepreneur and you want your business idea to really take off, you want your business idea to be successful, to prosper, you have no life. There are many people competing with you. They have the same idea. In today's world, anybody can copy anything. Technically speaking, it will not be the same as the original gangster. However, anybody can copy anything, and chances are they won't grow as big as the person who invented it, the person who started it, but they can still take take market share away from that person. That's why I told you at the very beginning of the video, you want to be a startup entrepreneur? Are you out of your mind? You know what kind of sacrifice it is to be a startup entrepreneur, to commit to a business? We're talking about massive personal sacrifice that stretches not just over a week or month, it stretches oftentimes over years and sometimes even half a decade or a decade before your business becomes very profitable, where you can scale the business into the multi-millions so that you can eventually have a decent exit, which is definitely what the average person wants. The reason why people get into a business is because they want to create something successful. This isn't just about the American dream, this is the worldwide dream in today's world. To be successful, to have a business, to be independent, and to be free. However, freedom comes at a very high price. Freedom is not for free. You've probably heard the saying, you have to live like nobody else so that later on you can live like nobody else. What is meant by that? Well, it means that you have to take a lot of personal sacrifice to get the business to the point where it generates enough income for you to live off of the income, plus you have a lot of reserved to build capital. And once you have preserved enough capital, and once your business is a real business, as an automated, you can live like nobody else. And living like nobody else means that you can enjoy the kind of lifestyle, the kind of freedom that everybody is talking about, yet so few people are actually living. In all honesty, be prepared for serious work ethic. Be prepared for serious personal sacrifice. You're going to be working 24/7. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to be working around the clock to create this business. Are you ready to do it or not? Another super important point is, of course, that age matters. Age matters in business as much as it matters in dating and many other things in life. Sport, age is very important. What I'm trying to say is that typically the best time to start a business is in your early 20s. When you have the energy, you have a lot of time left to recover from a potential loss, so you can actually take a lot more risk than somebody who is like in his 50s and 60s who's now thinking about starting a digital business. When you're in your 20s and you don't have any serious commitments, it's actually quite easy to start a business. You only have to be responsible for yourself and your actions. You don't have to be responsible for children, family. You know, it might depend, maybe you have already started a family, so it always depends, but very typically people in their 20s, they don't have a family, so it's just easier. They have less to worry about, they have more time to commit to the business, and because of that, it's usually much easier to do. What I also wanted to point out is that once you hit your 30s, especially your early 30s, it's usually the best time. Why? You have a mix of experience, energy, and you're no longer as vulnerable to certain things as you were before. Experience and energy are very important components to any entrepreneur looking to start a business. Are you currently involved in a startup? Do you need any help with building a business online? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want to consult with me, you can always go to nomadelites.com, subscribe to our newsletter, and we'll be in touch. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.